Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. If you've watched the previous video, you would have seen how we got to this point where we built our lookout, but now we're going to tackle doing some shot balancing, and maybe we'll get to sweetening up the shot, but we'll see. We'll see what we got going on there in the time that we have. And just as a reminder, try to keep this short. I know your time is valuable. So when you have a chance, you can look at how we built the look, but now we're gonna, balance this shot out. So we have our top end look here, the branches of the tree, you could say, and we're gonna come down and we're just gonna start working on our primaries. And everything's set up. This is for exposure. It's set up in gamma linear. And that is the same for color balance. We have shot level saturation that we kind of have going on, and it's its own thing. The story that we kind of put forth for this girl, it's a commercial that I graded, but we said that it's a girl with very, very bad breath who laughs at inappropriate times, kind of like the Joker. And she's out here sitting on a pier during a blackout, avoiding animals. So that is, instead of the commercial that I went with originally, that's the movie that we're kind of playing with. So we built a initial look based off of that. And I mean, you can download the same footage, you can work on the same thing, and you could take that same story and probably come up to a different place. And it's okay. It's art. This is what I'm looking at, and this is what I think about those things. But yeah, just on a shot by shot basis, we're actually a pretty good place in terms of what we're doing on exposure. Make maybe a small adjustment, brighten it up a little bit, but ultimately, let's bring down our highlights. Kind of just darken this image up a notch. Yeah. How we looking? Just gonna scrub around. Let's see here. Oops, daisy. I'm supposed to bring this so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see here. So we brought our offset up. We can bring that back down. Kind of just see where we're sitting on the floor a little bit. Don't want to play with that now while we're working in offset. Bring down some of those highlights. Kind of find a happy spot. We're just kind of reshaping this image a little bit. Just turn on. So that's where we were under our look. And this is, kind of just tightening it up a little bit. Because there's a lot of brightness. It's a lot, when you look at the waveform, it's fairly even across the board. And that's the thing, it's not going to draw your eye to anything. So we kind of just want to bring in some of the shadows. And we'll do some tweaks there when we sweeten the shot. But yeah, get in. And color balance, the thing that we're going to bounce back and forth is just a skin checker here. So we can see what our skin is kind of looking like. This is a very easy way, worth the time to get this utility plug-in to kind of see where we're at. And then dialing in skin tones. Just very broadly. Need to be exact, we don't need to be crazy. Just, whoops, can't do that because I'm just looking at these clips. Yeah. So that is the fun thing about this, is that the wood grain is got a little bit of the same similarities to her skin tone. So you never really a full-on separation. Crazy amount, but just a touch. If we go back over here, we pop in this guy down here on our secondary. Just see how that's gonna work. So this is one I've been playing around with lately. See, this is what her skin, if we just want to select skin hues. We just want to select. Yeah. You can see this. What is lit up is exactly what will affect. Uh, a little bit more. Yeah, she. Okay. Can make her pink. We can make her green. Kind of keep her right around there. That's decent enough spot. Did that help or hurt? Just give a little bit more color, a little bit more definition to her, but is that too much is the question that I have. Take a little bit out. So we kind of just selected her skin. We're just making adjustments directly to that. And then we can kind of go back and just double check our skin checker here. It's looking good. So yeah, if we go back to here, we come here, let's see how we're doing with, if we just apply that in shot level, look. Active layer. See how that affected her skin on her hand. A little bit tighter. Just give a little bit more color. Just a tiny bit more separation. Not too shabby. But overall, like, I don't think it's going to too bad of a place. The thing we can touch on is we can add a parallel here and just copy, paste, and we'll just change this to cyan. See that we are pretty much only looking at our cyan, and we can kind of tweak some of this, make sure that we're getting as much of the water as possible. And yeah, let's turn that off and kind of just play around with it now that we have our selection. Wanted to make the water a lot bluer, wanted to just pull out the color and make it a lot grayer. You can see how visually that's affecting how we even perceive her skin tone. We haven't really affected her skin tone at all, but we just cranked. Change that water. Do you like the water? What color? So yeah, this is a weird question that I had recently. Was talking about with some people, like, I'm working on a, say, a sunset. I'm working on how does this water supposed to look under our look, you know? If you lived in the Bahamas and you color graded, would you be inclined to maybe make the waters turquoise? That you're inclined, even if it wasn't even filmed, like there was no, it was location agnostic. Couldn't tell from what, can't tell what pier she's on, whether or not she's in California. For me, like I've spent so much time in Southern California that like I have an idea of what the water on a cloudy, overcast day should look like. And that's what I'm working towards unconsciously. Whereas, like, I feel like if I lived in the Bahamas or Caribbeans, like my idea of water would be, if I'm thinking that and I'm forcing myself to think that, if I don't have that category in set, then, you know, I might be all over the place here in terms of trying to find what looks good for the water. I am trying to get a little bit more separation, so the more I pull it towards cyan, you get more. If you look at the scopes on the vector scope, you're getting more density, more pull, more saturation away from her skin tones, and that gives you that nice look. But honestly, I think it's fascinating that perceptually, where I'm going to go with what it should look like is tied to what I think water looks like. I always found that to be fascinating, and I'm curious if you've struggled with the same things as well. But anyways, yeah, let's just pop over here and do one last thing. Apply active layer, so we added in that turquoise, but you can see, yeah, it's different once it's zoomed in. I'm not exactly happy with that. So we can actually just dial that back, just hop into that global blend, and pull that back a notch. It's still there, but it is definitely stronger than here. But better. But that's part of the balancing. It's kind of finding, you know, in this close-up shot, it was a little bit much. But we don't want to be too crazy because we want to keep it somewhere. But overall, I think we're in a happy place. So yeah, next time, let's talk about something fun. And talk about doing some of those things we've kind of already touched on, where we focused a little more on her, specifically on her skin, a little bit more focused on the water, but there's a couple other things. Yeah, let's just keep going for a minute. How much time we're going at? Yeah, and we'll just finish this up. So here are some things that I would initially do when I'm looking at it. Like, I know the one thing that I would want to deal with is a couple power windows. Just gonna put one out there for right now. Kind of see window on. There we go. Just gonna take that down, the brightness, and you can see how it affects there. But when we scrub it over the seat over here, kind of completely bring down how things are looking. You can kind of just tweak this, make that like that. It's often a ton of that. Just rotate it. Maybe make the size a little bit bigger, so it's just covering that pier. Just twist it off her back a little. And still give it a lot of softness, a lot of room to breathe, because it's gonna jiggle when the camera moves. We want that. Do we want to have to track this? Not really. But all we did is kind of take a little shape into that side of the pier and squash down the exposure to something that's a little bit lower when we look at the waveform than our subject. We do have the highlights up out here. That's fine. But we can kind of just scrub through. Do we need to track this? Is this window going to cause problems for us? I think it does, but I mean, that's kind of one of the things to be thinking about, is how do we make that. And I was actually quite aggressive on that. We can give some gamma back. And then because it wasn't set up that way, we can always just pop it over and see how it looks over here. We wanted to work in linear, but we're just using DaVinci Wide. And that's looking good. So yeah, until next time, if you had a good time on the joy of color grading, then please do all those YouTube things. Check out the channel, click on these other links. I'm going to sit here and drink my coffee.